Fun fact, nearly half of stadiums are now using facial recognition to track fans in real time. And the events industry is racing to do the same thing at your conferences and in your activations. I think we're about to make a massive mistake, and I want to show you exactly why. I'm Jenny Howard Maxwell, and this is The Experiential Strategist. Last week, I moderated 2 debate series at the Event Connector conference. 2 rooms full of my peers and 1 conversation. It got more heated than anything else on the agenda. It wasn't AI, even though we talked about that too. But what we mostly talked about was measurement, specifically where it's headed. I have spent this entire past year telling event and experiential professionals to prove their ROI. I still believe every single word of that. It's the difference between staying in execution forever and finally being able to be taken seriously as a strategist in moving your career from planner to that next level. But in that room, I heard planner after planner describe what's already happening at industry events. And frankly, we are not all okay with it. It's facial recognition at check-in. Technology built to read what attendees are feeling in real time. All of it justified the same way. We have to prove that our events and our experiences are working so that we aren't getting our budget cuts and our events canceled. When budgets are on the line the way that they are now, we can't afford to guess on whether or not they worked anymore. And I think that we're about to do the exact opposite of what an event is supposed to do. So let me show you some of the data, because this isn't just a feeling that I had after being in a room full of professionals chatting about it. The clearest numbers that we have right now come from the stadiums and the sports venues, because that's where these biometric technology has moved the fastest. Nearly half of them, 47%, now list biometric technology as a top initiative. Facial recognition at entry, biometric concession systems built to identify and track people in real time. It's already rolling out across the NFL, MLB, and major European football leagues. So here's the part that should really freak you out. In this same research, 40% of people said that they were afraid venues would misuse their data. Another 35% said that they were specifically wary of being monitored more. This is not a small, quiet minority. That is close to half the audience in this sector adopting this the fastest. This is telling researchers they don't trust what's happening with their information. Now, corporate events and conferences are earlier in this curve than the stadiums are, which means we still get to choose which directions we take it in. That window is closing faster than most planners realize. And here is what really got me. The technology itself doesn't hold up. HireVue, it's one of the biggest names in AI-driven screening. It pulled its facial coding tools after the FTC came after them over bias. Google, Microsoft, Nielsen, all of them retired their own emotion recognition products around the same time. For the same reason, the tech doesn't reliably do what it claims it does. And it does worse for some groups of the people than others. If the companies that build this technology don't trust it enough to keep selling it, we shouldn't be the one betting on our attendees' trust on it instead. It is already getting expensive to get it wrong too. Mobile World Congress, one of the largest trade shows in the world, got fined 200,000 euros for requiring facial recognition without proper consent. Illinois has one of the strictest biometric privacy laws in the country and keeps expanding enforcement. Now here in New York City, it requires any venue using biometric technology to disclose it. GDPR treats biometric data as its own protected category. This isn't a future risk. This is happening right now. So let me be really, really clear about where I personally land on this, because I don't want you walking away thinking I've decided, oh, measurement doesn't matter in events. That's not what I'm saying. I do believe we need to be tracking and measuring emotion in our attendees and our guests. It's the third pillar of everything I teach. It's the mechanism that drives behavior that we're actually trying to create. Ignoring it is not the answer. But there's a way to do it that isn't invasive. You don't need a camera reading someone's face without their knowledge to know if your event moved the needle. You need to define your purpose before you build a single piece of the experience. You need to know what behavior you're trying to create. You need to design for emotion on purpose, deliberately, as part of the experience itself, instead of trying to extract it afterwards with hardware no one can send it to. I always teach purpose first, then behavior, then emotion, the mechanism that drives it, and then the activation and how it's anchored directly to the brand. Then the outcome that you really set out to measure. That's the whole framework, in order, every piece of it, and it can be measured without ever putting a camera on someone's face. The event and experiential professionals who win in the next 5 years are not going to be the ones with the most invasive measurement stack. They are going to be the ones who can prove their event worked using a framework their attendees never even had to worry about. They didn't even know about it. You don't need to track what someone feels to prove your event produced. You need to know what you are trying to produce before you ever built it. And one more thing, I bet you that those who are designing these softwares, I bet you they have never tried to sell a ticket in a trust recession. We need our attendees to trust us. If we lose this trust, we lose attendees. And that is the exact opposite of what our industry needs right now. So this got you thinking. I wrote the full breakdown, including all of the research, all of the details, and it's linked below. I'll see you in the next one.